This is it, new and improved. It's still a prototype, but this is it. What's up guys, I'm here at my house waiting for someone to show up and drop off a special delivery. That's something I'm gonna be able to get some pretty insane footage with. I'll show you and talk about it here in a second. What's up, man? How you doing, brother? Ian Balding is here, and this is the board that we're gonna be getting some pretty epic GoPro footage on. Here we go. New toys. Oh snap. Boom. When I say new footage, that's because we're going tail mount for the GoPro. This is it, new and improved. It's still a prototype, but this is it. So what I did to change this up from Ben's board was actually using vinyl screws and really just kind of playing with the diameter of the holes here so that it can actually like pull out. And this will be an improvement too. Ben lost a couple of these things in the last couple of years. So this thing we're definitely going to strap to the tail of your board, but this should be able to take a hit, come off the board and still stay attached so you don't lose the whole getup, but you can also take it off, travel with it. So hopefully we're gonna get some sick footage of this thing. Yeah, we are. For everything that's going on, I mean, it's got obviously the walnut veneer top and bottom, carbon fiber rails, it's got an EPS core, epoxy lamination. So I mean, all of that combined is gonna make this thing super durable. So for what, you know, we're intending to have you do with this thing, you couldn't really ask for much more. I mean, this thing, if you snap this thing, it's gonna be a heavy wave. It's gonna be a heavy wave. So Ian shapes surfboards and paddle boards, and he made this tail mount GoPro setup on a custom board for Ben Bourgeois, and Ben had been using it, getting some really sick images, and I got to try it out 2 years ago. Got one session, got one cool photo. My GoPro had fogged up because I just wasn't paying attention. I left it pointed at the sun, it messed up the frame, but it was super rad. And so then I started talking to Ian about getting a setup because he makes these tail mounts custom to the boards that he shapes. So it can't just like go on any board. It has to be, the mount is made specifically for this board. And so, you know, he made this 610. It's made longer so you can scoot up on the board. That way the GoPro gets like your feet and everything in frame. Because if you're too far back, then, you know, if the board was shorter and you're like on the tail, you're basically just gonna have a sick GoPro shot of your butt, which no one wants to see. So board's made longer so that you can get up and get that whole pretty frame. So the goal here is to, well, we need some waves, but the goal here is to try and just get some insane GoPro stuff. I'm hoping to get my hands on a GoPro Fusion so we can get super trippy on some 360 peripherals, and yeah, we'll see what we can come up with. But thanks to Ian here reaching out and making it happen. We're gonna be able to put some cool stuff together. It's gonna be fun. Well, man, thanks for shaping it, dropping it off. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun project. Can't wait to put it to the test. Yeah. Now I just need some waves. You know what? We'll just go ahead and like cut from right here to the next session, the first session that's happening on this board. Well, there you have it, guys. I know that was real short and sweet. I only was able to get 3 waves on that board before, well, that was actually the end of the session. I'd been out for a couple hours prior, and I came in and I had the board ready to go on the beach in case the waves were good enough to give it a go. The thing is, you really need waves that you know you're gonna make, because I didn't have a leash on it. So I was out there leashless. So I wanted to be able to make sure I could pick waves that would allow me to get in early and ride them without like a late takeoff or being too heavy to where I'd wipe out. I just didn't want to deal with swimming for the board or maybe breaking off the carbon fiber pole. As Ian was telling you, these screws here are made to break. The issue they had with Ben's original prototypes was that the screws were too strong, and if it hit the bottom or had a crazy wipeout, it actually like de-lammed the deck of the board, I believe. So he made it so that they'll break under enough pressure and you won't ruin the board. And then we have the leash set up so that when that does happen, you know, you won't lose it. And then on top of that, I put a floaty on the back of the GoPro housing and put one of their leash, I don't know what you call it, but it's a leash system for sticking that to your board when you have it mounted on your board. And then that is tied right here. So it's all about redundancy. We got the multiple leashes and the floaty and everything set up so that, you know, when that bad wipeout does happen or it's really shallow and something breaks off, hopefully it won't even leave the board thanks to the one leash, but if it does, then it'll float, or if the GoPro somehow comes off, it's got the floaty, so it'll float. But either way, I think as long as you're choosy, we'll be good to go. But yeah, thanks Ian Balding for getting this thing made so I can start getting footage. I'm excited to put it into some like really good lighthouse tubes or wherever I may be, and some pretty lighting and get some unique angles. It's something totally different than I've ever done, and it'll be really fun to get that new perspective. Oh, and for those of you guys that are curious about like, oh, well, I thought he rode for Super Brand, but he's on this other board. That's because this board is just like, you know, unique. Ian made that is his own carbon fiber pole, and it's the mount that he designed that goes into the board is specific to his shapes. I talked to the guys at Super and they were totally cool with me, you know, going on in this little adventure and talking with Ian and trying to get something dialed to get this perspective. I will say, if you would like one, you can order them through Ian. He told me that, you know, if people put in custom orders for him, he'll make them. They still are in the prototype stage. He's learning. This is only the third one he's done like this. I will say it's pretty hard. You have to be very conscious of the camera. It's a lot to hit record and then hop on the board and paddle into the wave and make sure that you don't kick the pole or whatever. You know, if you're gonna get one, you really should be at least a decent barrel rider. It isn't gonna be like riding anything else, but if you wanna get really cool images, that's what you need right there. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna go put these little knuckleheads to bed. I don't know where Malia went. But thanks for tuning in. I hope you liked that. I'm really excited about where this is going content-wise, and I can't wait to see what I get next. But in the meantime, be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss out. And I'll see you guys next week.